Oh my God, hello! Welcome back to Thoth Thursday. Today happens to be Earth Day. So we're gonna talk about the World card, or in Thoth's case, the Universe card. But before we begin, I want to kind of say something about the World card and the Universe card in general. The end of the Major Arcana. Okay? I firmly believe, and I think Crowley believes this as well, because he says this in the Book of Thoth about it being the completion, right? It's the completion of the circle between the Fool and the Universe card. It's this sacred nothingness that is the Fool, this pre-manifest, and then everything being manifest. It's the Alpha and the Omega, right? It's the all, but then the all is nothing. It's a vast expansion of it all, right? And I love this correlation. So that's why today, not that you're interested in my clothes, okay, but I found this shirt in the thrift store, and I thought, I look like a jester. Which of course reminded me of the Fool card. So I'm going to show you my shirt. Sacred ruffles. And this this weird pop of all these colors. I just love it. And it made me feel like a jester, you know. All I need is one of those hats, those pointed hats or whatever. I've always wanted a jester costume. I love jesters. So I love that is kind of, that's the depiction that people put on the Fool. So I'm dressed up as the Fool card today. I guess to even further symbolize for me that there's not a separation between the Fool and the world, that it's all kind of doing this like an Ouroboros. And I find that to be soothing in a way, that once we get to the world, we're starting back over, and it's just like very cyclical. I say that a lot in my tarot videos, that I think of the tarot very much going around in circles. And the wheel card, just all kinds of links, right? But today I'm going to do something kind of different than I normally do. I'm not going to just, pow, here's some information. Okay? I've taken some notes on the Universe card, the World card, or whatever. But I really wanted to touch on this because I've kind of been, I use this for a couple of other videos that I've done in Thoth Thursdays. And most recently, the backs of the Thoth cards, I've gotten a lot of information from here. So I've been really using this text in a lot of my research lately, right? Y'all know me in my Thoth videos. I like to reference the Book of Thoth, okay? But because I've been using this for the actual factual information on the backs of the cards, I've found myself skimming other parts of the book too. And when I noticed that this Thoth Thursday would ended up being Earth Day, I thought, well, let's dive into the Universe card, because I've always been fascinated with the cyclical nature of tarot. I've always been fascinated with the fact that the World card is linked to the Fool card, and that there is, in terms of tarot and the Thoth tarot being a system in and of itself, like aside from Rider-Waite-Smith, they look pretty similar. There's this naked maiden in the middle, and there's the four cherubs, the four zodiac, the four fixed zodiac signs in the four corners, right? It's just, there's some similarities in the two, even though these are two separate systems. So I kind of read up on it, but I really wanted this to kind of be organic. So we're going to kind of read in this book about the Universe card specifically. And I will comment as I go. So before we get started, here is the Universe card in the Thoth. We see this naked maiden and beautiful cube. It's a cube behind her with the world. The green circle is the world. And then further out, we have this geometry here this sacred machinery here. It's not actually machinery. It's something else. I forgot the name. Look at symbolism videos on Thoth Thursdays past. But there's a lot of symbolism in this. And then this whole shape looks like an egg, right? Like, let me put this book down. Like this whole shape right here up comes to a point like an egg. And I very much associate the world card with like the egg symbol, the Orphic egg. The egg does not symbolize to me about birth so much so creation. It's creation. And that yes, there's a birth involved in creation, but it doesn't necessarily have to be human. So the egg is just that powerful symbol we tend to put on anything we create. So I like that there's an egg. And then of course, like I said, the zodiac symbols, the fixed 4 zodiac symbols are on the corners. So, you know, and then this great eye. Look at that. Like, I love that eye right there. Oh, so powerful, so beautiful. I just love this deck so much. So I wanted to read in Lon Milo DuQuette's book. Of course, he starts out with Modesty, okay? About saying that he doesn't really understand all the symbolism. He's a liar. If he really thought about it, if he really, I don't want to speak ill of him, okay? It's not like I'm trying to speak ill of him, but I think that modesty is an admirable quality, but when you're using it to stoke an ego, then I get a little about that. So it's like, yeah, you do. You do know. You do know what every single symbol in here looks like, and if you really, really don't, then your studying could use a little zhuzh too, okay? But anyway. And now I do love, the one thing I love about this book is that for all the cards, for most of the cards, he's got this, the dialogue between Harris and Crowley upon making the deck. There was some like letters and some were lost in transit, lost in time, but I do like how he kind of pulls snippets from the cards that are available in terms of this dialogue, and he puts it in this book. And it says, the elemental cherubims are quite jolly, but the little lady has twisted and turned till I am insane with the wiggling lines. And I've done about 40 drawings of her. And I think that there was this kind of like, if you think about the Thoth star, there has to be movement, right? There is lots of movement in the Thoth deck in general. And I think that when you read the Book of Thoth on this card, there's like a little, compared to other cards, there's like a little text for this card. But he talks a lot about chemistry. He talks a lot about elements. He talks a lot about, of course, the togetherness of the world versus the full card and things like that. He talks about astrology, but he really talks about the twirl, right? That the lady that's centered in this card is the embodiment of the twirl of the universe as a whole. And that it's in the twirl, and that it's not just a circle, basically, is what I guess I'm getting at. Is that in his brain, yes, I might have said this, like it's an Ouroboros, but in his mind, it's not just an Ouroboros that we see it. It's a twirl. It's a swirl. And it's going up, 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 up into nothingness, into nothingness, into expansion, and into eternity, right? That's the message of the world, is in the twirl, in the eternity of the twirl, I guess you could say. So, okay, so he talks about the universe having served as the cover image of Wiser edition of the Book of Thoth, which is the one I do. I have the original copy of the Book of Thoth, the blue, okay? It is without question one of the most recognizable cards, duh. Familiar as it is to us, it is one of the most complex and mysterious cards. See, here we're going with what I consider false modesty. Maybe I need to look into that. Maybe I need to contact Lon Milo DuQuette and talk to him about this. There are several elements in this card I don't understand at all. For or for instance, what is the black crescent-shaped object in the goddess's right hand? You see that object she's holding? What does that look like? Looks like a scythe, doesn't it? When you think about a scythe, you think about death. Then you think about the death card, right? Why are those two linked? Come on, Lon Milo DuQuette. You know. Saturn. It's because it's Saturn. Okay? He put that symbol in there to link it to Saturn. And we think of Saturn. When we think of Saturn, you think of the death card. That's what that is. Now, of course, this is an assumption of mine, okay? But like I said, when you really think about symbolism and how Crowley, I don't know a damn thing about Crowley, except for what I read, right? Except for the texts that I have in front of me that were written by him, right? That's it. So these are assumptions, of course, but knowing the deck, like really knowing the deck, almost, it's so personal to me now that I feel like I kind of know the deck. And upon knowing the deck, I know that the symbols sit on top of each other like layers, just like the four worlds and the colors therein. There's layers, right? There's the queen scale and the king scale. You know, see what I'm saying? So there's layers to it. And so for me, for a symbol not to just automatically have, like you don't have an assumption for that, something should have clicked, okay? Something. And for me, when I look at this, and I look at this curved, like crescent moon shaped thing that she's holding, it very much looks like a scythe. And then I think about death, and then I think about black, you know, because of Banah, but then because of Saturn. It was so easy for me to think about that. Like it just popped in my head, right? I don't have a clue. You do have a clue. Just think about it, okay? Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I made you have an epiphany for that. Come on, Lon. I dare you. I dare you to contact me. I can't find any reference to it in the Book of Thoth. Well, that's because it's just a symbol. He expects it to pop into your head like it did me. Now, I'm not saying I'm all powerful here, okay? I'm just saying that it did pop into my head. I didn't need an explanation because it was like right there in front of your face. If Crowley explains it in any other writings, I confess it has escaped me completely. He's so funny, isn't he? He's just so funny. He's hilarious. My best guess is that it's a sickle, not an inappropriate weapon for a Saturnian goddess. See, it was popping. It was popping in your head, okay? You just didn't realize it. It looks like she is sticking the sharp right end in the middle of the big eye at the top of the card, perhaps causing it to erupt in glories of light, but I can't say for sure. God, this guy's cheeky as hell, isn't he? Now, I do admit that it does look like the point is in the eye, but if you think about it, okay? Woo! If you think about it, this scythe, or this sickle, the sickle he calls it, this sharp end is what she's holding. She's not holding it where it's supposed to be held, okay? So she's kind of holding it at its sharp end, right? But it's the end, like, you don't even hold it down here at the end, where it's pointing. But if you think about it, it's bursting with light. The eye. But I think of this as the eye of the divine, like the all-seeing eye, right? Not to get Illuminati on you guys, but this creator, right? This all-powerful, the divine, whatever. He's all-knowing. So he would be at the top of this twirl, this spiral, right? So, but with it being Saturn, it's almost like the sickle itself, or the scythe, is emanating from the all-seeing eye, because he's the creator. He created it. So to me, it's not like she's piercing it, because she's just kind of holding it like this. She's not grabbing it. And we know that there's a big emphasis in hands in lots of tarot decks. So it's in the way she was holding it that made me think that she's not piercing, okay? Because then she would do this. She's receiving it. from the divine. A message from Saturn, right? So anyway, it's all in how you look at things, I guess. Okay. There are several other images in the card that I didn't see until I had the card enlarged and enhanced. First, let's start with what we know from Crowley's own comments. Okay, here we go. Now, this is a snippet from the Book of Thoth, okay? In the card itself, there is consequently a glyph of the completion of the great work in its highest sense, exactly as the A2 of the Fool symbolizes its beginning. The Fool is the negative issuing into manifestation. So it's like that accretion disc, right? The Fool is the accretion disc to me. The universe is that manifestation, right? So if you think of a black hole, okay, here's the accretion disk and here's shit getting sucked in, right? The Fool sits right here at top, and it's kind of like he's in, but he's out as well, I guess you could say. But then the universe is all of what's just gotten sucked. Here's the accretion disk. The Fool sits on top, right? All this is manifesting into like this teardrop shape down to bottom, right? What if that's the world card? The 20 cards that lie between the two exhibit the great work and its agents in various stages. The image of the universe is accordingly that a maiden, the final letter of the tetragrammaton. It's not really that. Okay. Now, here we go into a little of the astrology. It says the universe represents both the planet, Saturn, and the element of Earth, right? We already know Earth is in some ways a real second-class citizen in the Kabbalistic universe. We also know that because Earth is lowest, okay, think Malkuth, right? It ironically plays a pivotal role in the cosmic scheme of things. Well, there you go. Well, that's because, like, even Crowley says this, that when you think of the tree of life and you think of Malkuth or you think of Earth, it sits as a pendant below the rest of the tree of life. The earth suit, or the earth element, sits like a pendant, right? Like it's after everything comes the earth. I guess in a way it would be the ending. But then because everything is cyclical, then the earth is the beginning and the end. Okay, see, I like where this goes when I do this organically. Saturn is also very special as Binah's representative, Binah being 3 on the tree of life. It, of course, and the Black Sea, the dark mother, right? It is the only planetary sphere above the abyss. In many ways, it is the highest of the high. At the same time, the path of the universe leads from Yesod, the 9th, and the true Sephiroth on the last true Sephiroth on the tree, down to Malkuth, which is only pendant to the tree, a cosmic dingleberry. God. Mr. DuQuette, you are hilarious. So it's telling us that it's that path of Yesod, okay? Which, like it said, is the last real Sephiroth until you get to Malkuth. So it links Earth with Yesod. Now, I like that it does talk about the Tree of Life, because when I think of Yesod, I think of that as foundation. So it's literally the line. It's the accretion disk. So it's the accretion disk right here, but on which Malkuth sits. So it's like the string that Malkuth sits upon. And that's the path of the world card or the universe card. So it's kind of linking the foundation of the universe with the earth element. Okay? I think that means that we are all linked. I think that the message here is that we are linked, Earth and the universe. I love looking at those pictures of like a hurricane swirl in the galaxy, like the Milky Way galaxy, and how they look the exact same. I love looking at that. I think that that's the message here, is that we're all connected and it's all doing the same thing. The twirl of a hurricane is exactly the same as the twirl of the Milky Way. Stuff like that. Veins in a leaf look just like the veins in a human. Stuff like that. I don't know. I just love looking at the similarities between things like that visually. How strange that the highest high and the lowest low, see, what did I say, would be represented by the same card. The universe must indeed hold many mysteries. Crowley confirms some in this passage. The first and most obvious, this is a quote, the first and most obvious of this card is that it comes at the end of all and is therefore the complement of the Fool. It is attributed to the letter Tau. Okay, now when we think of Tau, I always assumed that Tau was like a cross, but not a cross like a Christian cross. Just a four-folded cross, okay? Like a Knights Templar kind of a cross, I guess you could say. If you're interested in Hebrew letters, I've got a thought Thursday on that. The two cards together accordingly spell the word ATH, which means essence. All reality is consequently compromised in this series, of which two letters form the beginning and the end. Now, all that means to me is essence, is that everything is divine, everything is universal, everything, whether or not you hold this belief that the universe, there is a universal, what I would like to call the universal law, right? Like, we're all connected and things like that. And it's all going to swirl around and do what it's going to do, and nothing, we can't stop it. We can't cheat the universe, right? I think that that's what I'd like to think about when I think of that. Okay, back to Lon. As we see from the previous description, the universe should contain a demonstration of the quadrature of the circle. For centuries, it has been the quest of mystic mathematicians to square the circle or construct by using only a compass and a straight edge, a square of precisely the same circumference as that of any given circle. It would be the geometric equivalent of building the New Jerusalem. You see that? That's what Crowley is trying to tell you, is that if we use math, then we will be able to unlock this universal law, right? And I don't know, maybe we have, think about pi, right? When you think of geometry, when I think of geometry, I think of pi, and how basically that's the formula, plug that in, and radius, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, it's upon these geometric discoveries that this universal law opens up. Sacred geometry opens up, right? We find shapes using math, and it just keeps, the universe keeps expanding for us. Started as nothing, and now it's something, right? It's manifested into this huge, vast thing, and it's about knowledge. It's about gaining all the knowledge we can, and the core of which the universal knowledge would probably be based on is math. How we calculate different things. How we calculate that sacred swirl, or that circle, or that regular whatever shape it is. It's in how we calculate it. That's where it's all gonna come from, right? Our knowledge. In 1882, mathematician Ferdinand von Lindemann finally demonstrated that the perfect squaring of the circle is a mathematical impossibility. However, thousands of years of attempting the impossible have produced a body of graphic and architectural devices that have supplied the patterns and proportions for temples and cathedrals, sacred statuary and paintings. It has also provided us with the blueprint of the universe. See, I think that that's probably why they chose to use projective, like synthetic projective geometry. Because Crowley was probably an advocate for math. Maybe he wasn't, I don't know if he was like great at math or not, I don't know, but maybe he knew that the secret was in math and geometry itself. And so, of course, that his art and the art of Lady Freddie Harris should, expand to that. I confess that I have become hopelessly lost whenever I try to find the logic and numbers of transcendental mathematics. What I do understand is the aesthetic beauty of the figures such musings produce when translated into graphic designs. The New Jerusalem, basically. Because I cannot explain exactly why this diagram is an attempt to square the circle, I will instead try to show you how it is constructed and allow you to decide whether or not to pursue its mysteries further. And he goes on into using geometry to try to square the circle. He talks about like the first circle being Keter and the second circle being Hokmah. The opening right here, the yoni of this shape here, this Vesca Pisces, is the yoni of the mother, which is Binah. So that's all three of the top three of the tree of life. And then anyway, you just keep doing that, right? And then the square, which is the masculine in geometry. And I don't know, I'm not going to read all of this to you, but anyway, you end up here. Looks familiar, right? Huh. There it is. This is the basic model for both the traditional and the Crowley-Harris version of the universe. Basically, all universe cards or all world cards would probably have this sort of shape. Isn't that true? Pull out any world card. You may recognize this design as pattern for many paintings and stained glass windows that depict Christ or the Holy Family or the Trinity, surrounded by the images of the angel or man, the lion, the bull, the eagle. In the Harris Crowley card, the four cherubic creatures are placed in the corners in the same manner as in the Hierophant. Ooh, I like that he links the two cards together. Because like I said in the previous video, I do believe that the Hierophant is like the middleman between the macro and the microcosm. So Mobius strip. That's what I was trying to think of it. That's what this like swirl back here, this triple-headed swirl thing that's behind her is called a Mobius strip. It's this I don't even know if I would be able to explain it, okay? But it's think of a ribbon that's got three corners, okay? Like this. And all of them keep swirling in with each other. Like, that's a Mobius strip. The endlessness of a Mobius strip makes it perfect and a beautiful glyph of the infinite. Now, I like here that he quotes Crowley again. It says, her dancing partner is shown as Hururaha, or Hururaha, which is the snake, I'm guessing, because she's not dancing with anybody else. So I'm guessing it's the snake here that she's twirling around the universe with. Is she Nuit, Babylon, goddess of the sphere of Saturn, Binah? Or is she the virgin princess of the sphere of Earth, Malkuth? She is, in truth, both the great mother and the virgin daughter of eternity, because it's the beginning and the end. Cyclical. Now it says here that that Crowley had a vision quest with this maiden coming to him. It says she had deep eyelids and long lashes. Her eyes are closed or nearly closed, like. That when I read that, it made me think of like ecstasy. Like, I don't even know. Without actually being in ecstasy. I don't know if I could do it. It's like hooded. Okay, that's what I want to say. Like hooded. Like arousal, like She is naked. Her whole body is covered in fine gold hairs that are the electric flames that are the spears of mighty and terrible angels, whose breastplates are the scales of her skin. Ooh, what an image. And the hair of her head that flows down to her feet is the very light of God himself. Of all the glories beheld by the seer in the Aeters, there is not one which is worthy to be compared with her littlest fingernail. The seer is lost in wonder, which is peace. Okay, so it doesn't have to be arousal. It could be like a calm, right? This is the daughter of Babylon the beautiful, that she hath borne unto the father of all, and unto all hath she borne her. The daughter of King, this is the virgin of eternity, that is she, that is the Holy One, hath rested from the giant of time, or time. The prize of them that have overcome space. The fact that he goes into so much detail without going into detail fascinates me for some reason. Like, because I'm so in love with the Book of Thoth, I think it's because I like to think of things abstractly. I like to think of things, I like to research, right? I like to have like the factual knowledge behind things. But then when there's not an actual fact pointed to something, I do just kind of like want my mind to wander, and I want to have that hooded facial expression, and just like I'm, drugged with the anti-knowledge, if that makes sense. I guess that's the message of the universe, right? Is that we're never going to know. And we just need to learn how to dance with her. Take the knowledge that is getting learned, like all the new discoveries of science and all that. Absorb it all, right? Learn all that you can and all that you want to get you to that state of ecstasy and calm. That drugged state of, oh, I don't know, but I'm so glad that I don't know at this moment, because that means I will know someday, or that I'll get further and further along on this path to knowing, which I think is the message of the invisible Sephiroth on the Tree of Life dyad. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this chat on the universe. I wasn't going to get into the world card, like the Rider-Waite-Smith world card. It was just a Thoth card day, so I don't know. I was called to get Gerd Ziegler's book out and read the questions that he poses, because I just love that he does that for the world card or the universe card. I keep saying the world card because it's Earth Day and I'm feeling it. All right, questions. These are for you guys, and for me, for later. From what aspects of your life is it time to free yourself? Is there a journey or an enterprise waiting for you to set it in motion? What wonderful questions to journal about. Well, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this. If you have anything to add about the universe/world card, any tidbits, anything for me to think on, and maybe with answering these questions, journal about later too, leave it below. I would love to keep going with this. And happy Earth Day. Much love, people.